Wow, look at this comically oversized microphone. I'm just kidding. That was forced perspective. Hi, I'm Internet's Careless Rex, and I'm here to guide you through the mysteriously charming world of Omori. It's a world jam-packed with cute art and daring wit and death. On the surface, this game looks all cute and colorful, but one look at the tags and you'll know something's off. RPG? Like a bazooka? Do you see what I mean? This RPG tag is a clear indicator that we're dealing with some sort of psychological horror. Underneath Omori's cute facade, underneath Omori's colorful facade lies a horrifying secret that I will tell you about. This is hard. Underneath Omori's colorful facade lies a horrifying secret that surprised even me, Internet's Careless Rex. And I never get surprised. I never get surprised. That's when you're supposed to jump out and shout boo, and then I get all scared and stuff. Because it's funny. Okay, you know what? Never mind. You wouldn't get it. Before we begin, I want to issue you a quick spoiler warning. Part of what makes Omori so special is the story, and it's going to be hard to talk about it without spoilers. So, you've been warned. Go play the game first, then come back and watch this video. Or just watch this video and like it and subscribe anyway, because I worked hard on it, presumably. Consider yourself sufficiently warned. Now, let's jump crotch first into this gilded tragedy known as Omori. Most of the gameplay will feel like a typical RPG. You'll explore, do quests, level up, get new items, etc. You have health called heart and mana called juice. As you level up, you'll gain new skills that can be used in battle, and some that can be used outside of battle. All the basic RPG ingredients are there. Now, there is a specific battle mechanic that sets this game apart, but we'll talk about that later. For the most part, this game is going to feel like a standard RPG with an adorable filter placed on top. And this is by no means a bad thing. If anything, the aesthetics and gameplay were carefully chosen to make oddities stand out better. For example, every one of your teammates can find and equip different weapons. The weapons include cooking utensils, coconuts, stuffed animals, and other cute, lighthearted things. But Omori can only equip one weapon: a knife. This isn't blatantly ominous, but it wrinkles a forehead and scratches a chin or two. It's a jarring weapon considering what your friends have, and you wouldn't think twice about it if the game didn't have the setting that it does. While you play, you'll notice more of these oddities from time to time, sometimes subtle, like the knife, and sometimes conspicuous, but always out of place and uncomfortable. Other than that, the game is full of silly jokes, over-the-top characters, and fun little secrets and side quests. I could talk ad nauseum about the art design, so I will. I used to believe that graphics were unimportant, and the only consideration should be gameplay. Didn't matter how bad the graphics were, as long as the gameplay was good. I have a different view these days. While the gameplay is still king, the graphics play an important role too, and can enhance the gameplay experience. But better graphics don't mean better graphics. And no, I didn't misspeak. What I mean is, photorealistic graphics do not equal good graphics. Photorealism can be good graphics, but the word graphics encompasses more than simple fidelity. Graphics is starting to sound like a funny word. Anyway, the point is, style, color palette, design, originality, it's all important in determining whether graphics are good or bad. And Omori has outstanding graphics, so much attention to detail. I cannot gush enough about the game's graphics. And one could easily say, oh, it looks like a Super Nintendo game, the graphics are so outdated. But they would be wrong. And dumb. And probably smell bad. Omori's art goes above and beyond. When you switch characters, a special portrait pops up depending on the two characters switching and the perspective they're switching from. Going from Omori to Aubrey, special picture. Switching from Aubrey back to Omori, different picture. And yes, for you mathematicians out there, that's only 12 pictures. Well, it's 12 more pictures than you deserve. And also, it goes further. The background for each picture reflects the background of the area you're currently in. This didn't need to be done. No one would have complained if it was just one picture, or no pictures. That's what I mean. There's so much attention to detail, and each piece of art fits the style and theme like a choker on a goth girl. And not only that, the creepy parts of the game are perfectly juxtaposed to it and fantastic in their own way. Omori has some of the best graphics ever. Okay, we're done. Sorry for getting carried away. Actually, you know what? I'm not sorry. Circling back to the battle mechanics, it's like any other RPG. Your options are attack, skills, and items. And you can run from most fights. It's a front view style with the player and ally characters occupying each corner. The enemies will appear right in the center. Getting hit drains your heart, and using skills drains your juice, and these can be refilled with their respective items and blah blah blah. You've played a turn-based RPG before. Let's talk about what makes it unique. Players and enemies are affected by emotions. You can inflict emotions on enemies as well as your allies, and vice versa. Each emotion has a different effect. Happy will give you a boost to your luck and speed, but lower your hit rate. Angry raises your attack, but lowers your defense. Sad gives you more defense, lowers your speed, and you'll absorb some damage losing juice instead of heart. Neutral has no effect, and your stats remain unchanged. In addition to this, each emotion has Pokemon starter energy. Happy beats angry, angry beats sad, and sad beats happy. Just like in real life. And it works backwards for the weaknesses. These can be changed on the fly using items or skills to give you an advantage. Now, I completely ignored this mechanic. I rarely changed my emotions on purpose. It wasn't so much that I didn't like the idea, it was more so that I never felt a strong need to do it. I died in a few boss fights, but nothing gave me too much of a challenge. I used some skill combos that didn't affect emotion and was able to get by just fine. If I were to offer a criticism of some kind, it would be to make a difficulty option that made it hard enough to require engaging with this system. I don't think removing the emotions mechanic would be the right call. Even if they did nothing, the emotions play into the story. Basically, if you want to breeze through this game, then pay close attention to the emotions and you'll get a huge advantage. If you weren't spoiled before, you definitely will be spoiled now, so this is your last chance to get out before I start talking about the story. Last chance. Freaking get out. I mean, don't get out. Please watch the video. I'm begging you. All right, strap on. Strap in. Please don't keep that in the video. I'm begging you. It's not funny when you do that. Because everybody in the comment sections make fun of me. All right, strap in, because this story is a bonkers, and it's going to throw you for a loop, and we're going to just it's going to be a great time. What am I even... Okay. To get started, let's discuss the names of our main characters, in no particular order. The playable characters are Kel, Hiro, Aubrey, and Omori. The non-playable characters number in the bazillions, but we'll be focusing on two, Mari and Basil. And yes, I'm pronouncing it Basil, not Basil, you degenerates. Kel is Hiro's younger brother, and an energetic, outgoing young fella with a good heart. He's far from perfect, but confident in himself. Despite having a brother that excels at everything, Kel doesn't ever show signs of jealousy. Hiro is the pretty boy. He's charming, good at nearly everything he does, and he's beloved by everyone. He also plays the healer role for the party. Aubrey has a bubbly personality, is super strong, and loves all things cute. Her and Kel are a lot alike, and that's likely why they argue so much. Mari is Omori's older sister. She's very caring and protective. She's always ready with a picnic and sage advice. She's the same age as Hiro. Basil is Omori's best friend. He loves photography and nature. He has a green thumb and surrounds himself with plants. He's also the MacGuffin, word of the day. And that just leaves Omori. He, is? As you can see, Omori doesn't have much of a personality. There are tons of other side characters that you'll meet. They all vary in importance, but for the sake of brevity, we'll focus on these major players. Now, there is one other very important character that I've intentionally left out, and that's Sunny. This game is split between the dream world and the real world. The game starts in the dream world, and when you enter the real world for the first time, you're prompted to name your character. This character will look exactly like Omori, but you can name him whatever you want. For the sake of clarity, I'll be referring to him as Sunny, which is also what the wiki calls him. Each character is essentially the same person in the dream world and the real world, except for Omori, so keep that in mind. Okay, we have a decent foundation. Let's jump into the story. The game opens up with Omori inside of a white room. There's not much here and the door is locked. The journal shows some very disturbing art, and this should be your first clue that the game will deal with some heavy topics. After you figure out how to open the door, Omori will meet up with his friends, and shortly after, Mari and Basil. This is where the photo album first comes up. This scrapbook, if you will, is important, so remember it. The photos spill on the ground and you'll be asked to organize them in the proper order. After all the tutorial stuff, you'll get your first dip into the real world. This is where you'll name Sunny and encounter this guy. After this sequence, you'll return to the dream world, where Basil is mysteriously missing. Going back to his house, you'll see this. This might be your first encounter here with this creature, and as you play through the game, it'll pop up here and there. Almost always, it'll disappear after seeing it for the first time. This little fella is a very important character, and you'll come to understand why in due time. Okay? So, just have some patience, please. I'll tell you all about this character and why he's so important. Okay? So just hold on to your britches. Just chill out, okay? Stop. Seriously, I'm not going to continue the video until you calm down. Stop. After Basil disappears, your main quest in the dream world will be to find him. As you progress through the dream world, you'll reach certain checkpoints where you'll wake up in the real world. Here, you'll fight your inner demons and learn to conquer your fears to progress further in the dream world. Now, depending on which ending you go for, you can choose to effectively ignore the real world altogether. But if you want the good ending, which is what we're going to be talking about, then answer the door when Kel knocks. This will help you better understand the characters and their motivations. As you progress in the real world, you'll get more direct exposition. The first thing you'll notice is that while in the dream world everyone is close and connected, your friend group in the real world is broken up and is much older. Hiro has gone off to college, Aubrey and Kel have had some kind of falling out, and you've become a shut-in, ceasing contact with nearly everyone, including your BFF Basil. What could have happened to result in everyone separating? Well, you may have noticed that one character is suspiciously missing in the real world, and that's Mari. It's here that the combination of Omori's mostly emotionless demeanor, that creepy-ass journal in the white room, and a knife might tip you off that Sunny is a psychopath of some kind. I mean, it is a psychological horror after all. But could that be the case? Let's find out. As you bounce back and forth between dreaming and not dreaming, it becomes apparent that the dream world is an escape for Sunny. But what exactly is he escaping from? The first thing you find out, and I'm sure you all suspected this, is that Mari, Sunny's sister, is dead. This gets confirmed when you visit her grave behind the church. But how did she die? The story dances around this for much of the game, but the hints are there from the very beginning. It all adds up to one conclusion. Mari... And then the game confirms that that's what happened. This took place close to the music recital they were a part of, Mari on the piano, and Sunny on the violin. Strokes chin contemplatively. Something isn't quite adding up here. Don't get me wrong, of course losing a sibling like that would indeed traumatize someone, and it makes sense that they would become emotionally numb as a result. But there was some powerful and disturbing imagery at play here. And we haven't even talked about this guy, This guy. We haven't even talked about this guy yet. So what gives? Well, this is where things get rather dark. So, in the immortal words of Scar from Disney's The Lion King, Simba. That's not. It's be prepared. Be prepared. Okay? You remember the song. All right, let's get into it. At this point in the game, I was patting myself on the back, proud that I figured out what happened before the game confirmed it. But I was in for a rude awakening, because there's a bit more to the story. This is where the game gets extra creepy. You're thrown into a disturbing world chock full of horrific imagery. The dream world effectively falling apart, leaving nothing but Sunny's trauma flooding in. And after this relentless avalanche of creepy, you'll wake up in the real world one more time. This is where you'll get official confirmation of Mari and reconnect with your friends. You'll spend the entire day together reminiscing before ending the day with a sleepover at Basil's house. You drift off to sleep and have one final dream. In this dream, you find a photograph, and then another photo, and another, and another. Remember the photo album? Just as it was then, now it's time to organize these disturbing pictures, which, when in order, tell a much different story. Mari had no intention of dying that night. In frustration, Sunny breaks his violin. When Mari comes home and sees this, she confronts him. But then a typical sibling quarrel turns deadly. While Mari was trying to comfort him, he pushes her away, and then she fell down the stairs to her death. In a moment of panic, he dragged her body back up the stairs. That's when Basil comes in. Omori tells him what happened, and they both come up with a plan. Together, they carry her body down the stairs and out into the backyard. They take a jump rope and hang her body on a tree branch to make it look like a suicide. During this process, Mari's hair parts, revealing her open eye. This gives the illusion that she's staring directly at Sunny. And it's this image that manifests itself as this unassuming, albeit creepy character that has been haunting Omori in the dream world all this time. This image that's burned into his psyche is so powerful that he can't escape it, even in his carefully constructed dream world. This prompts Sunny to finally come to terms with what he's done. Basil, having felt abandoned after sacrificing so much to carry the burden of this secret, confronts Sunny. While angry at the circumstances, Basil still vows to protect Sunny and defeat the demons haunting him. This crescendos into a violent fight that leaves both of them hospitalized. The screen fades out as sirens are heard in the distance. While Sunny is in comatose, he dreams again. There, he finds Mari playing the piano, which, side tangent here, is an Omori brand piano. This is a missable detail, but a very important one. This is why in the dream world, Sunny is called Omori, and if you notice, his character is always drawn in black and white, despite the dream world being so colorful. Mari expresses that everyone makes mistakes, and that she'll always be watching over him. This is where Sunny must take action. Otherwise, he'll never be able to move on. Going into the storage closet, he pulls out his broken violin and repairs it with memories of his sister and friends. Each memory repairs a piece of the violin until it's complete. He continues on to the recital to find closure. He has to overcome the strong desire to abandon emotions and distance himself from the pain. To do this, Sunny chooses to play his violin. He'll then have to fight Omori for control. This battle is impossible, and the player is left with two choices. Quitting is quitting in real life. You'll get an ending where Sunny jumps off a building to his death. But if you choose to play, you'll overcome and find a way to press on. Afterwards, you'll meet up with your friends and confess. Roll credits. As I wrote this script and as I stand here now reciting it for you, I realize that so much has been left unsaid. I've glossed over so many details. For instance, the perfect parallel between Aubrey pushing Basil into the lake, nearly killing him, and Sunny pushing Mari down the stairs. Or the scene in the dream world where a man disowns his son while chopping down a tree that looks suspiciously similar to the one Mari was hung from. Every dialogue, every pixel, every note in every song was intentional. It was carefully crafted to tell this story, and it's a story that will stick with me for a long time. And that's why Omori is so brilliant. This is the part where I typically sum up the game in non-spoilery ways. But to be fair, I've said my piece. It's got exceptional graphics, stellar music, and incredible writing. It's now one of my favorite RPGs of all time. So go give it a play if you know what's good for you. Now get the heck out. This video is over. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to kiss that like button right on the cheek. Mwah. And if you want to catch these live, I stream them most evenings on Twitch. So hop on over, give me a follow. We'd love to see you there. Have a good one.